To business news with Stephen Carroll. Hi there, Stephen.
Hi, Catherine.
Let's start off with a look at what's happening on the markets.
We'd seen record highs on Wall Street and trading on Wednesday, and that's feeding over somewhat into what's happening on the Asian markets today. We'd seen the Nikkei close at a 7-year high, just easily up 0.85%. The Nikkei in Japan. Now, that's mainly been driven by opinion polls showing that Prime Minister Shinzo Abe looks likely to be re-elected in the snap poll that he called for the 14th of December. So investors are pretty pleased about that. You can see that the star performer in Asia is the Shanghai Composite, up over 4%. And this is a whole run we've seen over the past week, particularly led by the banks in China. This is more hope that the Chinese government will pump more stimulus into the economy as things do seem to be slowing down there.
All right, let's look ahead to something that investors are going to be watching pretty closely later on in the day, a meeting of the European Central Bank.
Yeah, that's right. It's the last meeting of the year for the ECB, and they're going to be looking at issues including low inflation and growth in the Eurozone. The rate of inflation in the 18 countries that use the euro was just 0.3% in November. That's well below the ECB target of 2%. Well, to discuss this further, we're joined in studio by Naeem Aslam, who's the Chief Market Analyst from AvaTrade. Naeem, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
What are we expecting from Mario Draghi today? Is this going to be a big day?
I don't think it's going to be a gain. It's going to be disappointment. There's going to be no massive QE announced. But what would be announced, and this is our view, that he will lay out a comprehensive plan for the market. So basically, what kind of assets ECB is going to look at and what they will be buying. If you look at the balance sheet for the ECB, you will see that balance sheet is still shrinking. The aim for the ECB is to increase that balance sheet. Now, that's despite the fact they have done 3 different things, LTROs, which we discussed last time, and the ABS and the covered bonds. They haven't actually done what exactly ECB is trying to do. So
that's really prop up the banking sector. They're trying to push money into the banking sector so banks will lend more.
Absolutely, because that is the only way to move forward. So what we're thinking, there could be 4 different outcomes for today. So either they can come up with, they can say, okay, look, here is a QE, full-blown QE, what the market is expecting or wanted to have it for a long time, but that's not going to happen. But if it does happen, we could see we could see a massive sell-off for the euro. The second thing, they could say, okay, these are the corporate bonds, which a lot of investors, and we are advising, we are telling our clients that could be a possibility. They could announce that. And at the same time, they can say, okay, we are still looking at the sovereign bonds for the different countries. If that happens, again, that's a sell-off for a euro.
And I mean, people are looking, a strong euro is not necessarily a good thing for a lot of companies in the Eurozone. So weakening the euro could be a good idea.
Absolutely. And then I think since the last announcement, when they cut the interest rate, the euro has been much more lower after that. So I think in the opening statement today, in the first few minutes, you can gauge if the massive quantitative easing is going to come or not. Like, let's say if we do have an echo of a lost, some sort of a same thing that he had in his last speech about the inflation, and then how aggressive he is about the inflation, we could possibly, we could see that it will have an impact on the sovereign bonds, and then they will be doing that.
Okay.
And Naeem, can we talk about one business or economic story that's been overhanging everything recently, the oil price? It's had a huge impact on the markets in the past couple of weeks. Do you think we're going to see it moving much further?
I think that is a very interesting aspect, especially when it comes to ECB, because there are 2 important things. Number one is the inflation, how that oil is going to play with inflation. And the second thing is the growth. Now, the growth side, as for you'll know that or for any French person or anyone who is using transport, they will have their buying power more increased. So they can travel more, they can spend more, and that's going to boost growth within the region. But the second problem comes towards the inflation side of the equation. Now, if the oil price is lower, that means that if we are producing goods, our manufacturing prices for those ones would go lower. So inflation would go even further down. That's a massive problem for ECB, who are already trying to fight inflation. So I think that is important in this press conference. What is the view that Draghi is going to take when it comes to oil prices? Are they going to influence on the growth side more, or are they going to look at the inflation side more?
Okay,
Mario Draghi, yeah. having to look into a crystal ball a little bit, it sounds like.
As usual, Naima, and thank you for your analysis, as always.
Thanks very much.
ECB meeting.
Okay, well, let's move on with some news from here in France, specifically on unemployment.
Yeah, that's not particularly good news either. We've seen the rate of unemployment in France between July and September increase. It was up to 10.4%, up 0.3% on the quarter. The figure for mainland France, slightly lower. This is often considered here in France to be a more reliable gauge of unemployment. It was 9.9% over those 3 months, but also up 0.2%. No great surprise. We've seen the monthly job figures coming up month after month, but not great reading for the French government.
Okay, and a story from the United States. Faulty airbags in cars, yet more controversy there.
Yeah, that's right. This is to do with the Japanese manufacturer Takata that's refused a request from US authorities to issue a nationwide recall of cars using its airbags. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration says the company has not yet solved the problem with airbags that's thought to have killed at least 5 people. Takata has issued recalls in particularly humid states where the problem's more acute. 10 million vehicles have already been recalled in the US over the issue. Takata says further moves aren't needed.
We are confident that the inflators we are producing today are safe because we have confidence in the integrity of our engineering and our current manufacturing processes here in the United States and across the world.
Right, one last story for us then from the business news. A new invention from Apple. They're always very innovative, aren't they? But this is actually about fixing something that they kind of got wrong before.
Yeah, well, this is interesting. It might seem a little far-fetched, though, and we'll have to wait and see if it does come into place. Apple's gotten a patent approved in an attempt to stop iPhone screens from smashing easily.
Big problem.
Big problem, personal experience. The options that are available in this patent listing include using the phone's GPS and vibration mechanism, so it will right itself as you drop it. The other option, which to me certainly is the most interesting or far-fetched, is that they would employ a thrust mechanism, which might include a gas canister, which would deploy outside of the device to change its orientation. So a little jet-fired iPhone could be coming our way soon.
Might as well just strap your iPhone to a cat. I mean,
much easier.
Very bizarre story. Thanks very much. Stephen Carroll, back in about an hour's time with more business for you.